What's all that mean?
Okay, that's
I'm gonna mute everyone. So Abigail, unmute yourself after this.
Hi, everybody. This meeting may involve the remote participation by members either by telephone or other electronic means due to the local public health emergency of the novel coronavirus pandemic pursuant to the provisions of Minnesota Statute Section 13D-021. Hi, everybody. I want to call the meeting, the full PAC Pedestrian Advisory Committee meeting for February to order. Did I hit all the high notes for the recording?
Yes, sounds good. And then we're bringing forward everything from January 2021 also.
Yes, we are, because our meeting was scheduled for January 6th. First thing on the agenda is the roll call. So Millicent, I don't know if you want to run roll call for us.
Yep, I will. Aaron?
I'm
Berger.
here.
Awesome. Abigail?
Here.
Adelaide?
Here.
Awesome. Barbara Olson?
What the heck?
She's on mute. I see her. Christopher
I'm here.
Hoffer?
I'm
Hello,
here.
Barb. Christopher Hoffer?
here.
Christopher Ross?
Here.
Great. Donna?
Here.
Jim Welsh? Julia Curran?
Here.
Matthew Steinrich?
Here.
Awesome. Neil?
Here.
Paul St. Martin?
Here.
Peter Bader?
Here.
Sarah Dudell?
Here.
Hey.
Here. Carrie? Emily?
Here.
Hi, Emily.
Hi.
Emma? Not here. Eric?
Oh,
Bauer?
sorry, this is Emma. I'm here.
Hi.
I'm out of hiding.
Emma. Sorry, Eric Bauer.
Emma's here.
Heather? Heidi? Julie?
Here.
Good, Heather?
I'm here.
Hold on. Who was that said they were here?
Julie.
Oh,
Hi, Julie.
Heidi
Chensmo?
said, I said I was here too.
Hi, Heidi. Thank you. Sorry about that. Jensmo?
Chensmo's not here, but Mackenzie Turner Bargain is kind of as an alternate for Mndot today.
Okay. Hey, Mackenzie.
Hi.
hey.
Ratana?
Here.
Hi, Ratana. Sonia?
I'm here.
Hi.
On
Suzanne? Suzanne Murphy? Not today. Millicent? I'm here. Chris Kartheiser?
Here.
Matthew Deardaw?
Here.
Wonderful. We have 23 in attendance.
Lovely. Thank you.
Good.
So next up on the agenda is to adopt the agenda as well as approve the meeting minutes from our last full meeting, which was in December 2020, as attached to the agenda on LIMS as well as in the email. So I just need a motion to approve those as written.
I move.
Second,
Who's that?
Christopher Hofer. I suppose
And
that's
actually, if I may jump in and double check, we need to make sure that folks have their ethics and oath in order to vote. And so I'll plug that. And so please make sure to, try to get that done. And then Millicent today will only call on folks that have completed the oath for voting purposes. And this is at the direction of the city clerk. Thank
If
you.
we're having trouble with accessibility with that, should we contact the clerk directly?
Yes, how about me and the clerk? Just CC me or, yeah.
Okay, so they provided basically very little to make sure that people could take care of it. It seems to be pretty high bar of entry. Am I missing something?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
So I'd definitely be happy to help.
I'll
help
email
with that.
you and the clerk. Thank you.
Yep.
Great. So I guess now that we've moved and seconded the adoption of the agenda and the approval of the minutes in December, we'll do the roll call we'll do the voting call of people who have their oath in. And Melissa knows.
Okay, you ready? There's some static in the back. Can everybody mute until I call you, possibly? Awesome. Okay. Aaron,
Yes.
Abigail,
Yes.
Lay,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Christopher Hoffer,
Yes.
Matthew Steinrich,
Yes.
Neil,
Yes.
Paul St. Martin,
Yes.
Peter Vader.
Yes.
So that is all for the voting now. Did someone get their oath in and I did not call their name?
I did. Matthew, you
Done?
sent it in for me.
You got yours in, Donna?
Yeah.
All right, great. I will mark you. Do you want to vote on the agenda and the minutes from last month?
Donna, are you referring to the application
Yeah.
months ago? That's not what we're talking about for this purpose. I should follow up with you about the oath separately.
Oh, so I can't vote today?
No, I don't believe so. Technically.
Well, then I probably should just leave the meeting.
No, you can stay. There's others are in this situation as well. We would
Yeah,
definitely will.
Situation, Donna. It
Yes, they Donna.
seemed like it was rolled out in a great way, so I'm going to contact the city clerk. So hopefully you and I can figure it out by next meeting. But I think if we both stay, we have things to contribute. So
Yes, absolutely.
And we will be doing introductions next, which are a little more long form. So everybody really wants to meet you and get to know you. So you should definitely stay. And given that, Matthew is up next for discussion on the agenda about introductions, onboarding, and election of PAC officers.
All right. And so, like I believe others have mentioned, we planned on having this part of this agenda last month, and it's amazing what a month it's been from that perspective. But so yeah, this is essentially welcoming the new cohort of PAC members, a lot of returning members, and 3 new members, some of which have attended the subcommittees this month, and we appreciate that. So welcome to the new folks, welcome to the returning members as well. And so this is a fun opportunity, I hope, to get to know each other a little bit more. And so we'll take probably an hour to do introductions. And we did a similar exercise, similar presentation a week ago for the Bicycle Advisory Committee, and found out that we needed to put people on a timer just because there's, about 23 people. And so what I'm gonna propose doing through these introductions is timing about 1.5 minutes, 1:45. And then what I'll do is, if you can see this, and if not, I'll note it as well verbally if that would be helpful. But I'll raise my hand just to subtly indicate that maybe you could wrap up and move on. So I'll just leave that there. But this is going to be fun, I think. So I'm gonna move on to the agenda outline. So first of all, we're going to do introductions. It'll take hopefully like 45 minutes ish, and then I wanted to take some time to cover the structure of the PAC and just sort of ease into some onboarding that will continue at future programs and policies subcommittee meetings. So that's a plug to attend those if you're interested in learning more from like CIP information to what we mean when we say CLIC. And so now I have to say that. So that's Capital Long Range Improvement Committee. But so we'll get into more of that detail in future meetings. And then we need to do the process of committee elections for officers, which make up the executive committee. So that'll be what we get into. So I'm going to get my timer ready. As we go through introductions, I'm gonna read this right now, and if you can take notes or try to remember, because I'm gonna get rid of this slide so we can just all see each other's faces. But for new members, so the 3 new members that we have, can you think about introducing yourself and then tell us what are you most looking forward to and or hope to achieve on the PAC? And along with that, what brought you to the PAC? And then for everyone, if you wanted to share your favorite place to walk in Minneapolis or some of your best experiences, and then also if you want your least favorite. So you can kind of cover any and all of that as you'd like. And then the returning members, what has been your favorite part of being on the committee, or has there been something that you have been proud to be a part of that the city has either adopted or built? And then also what has brought you to the PAC originally when you first applied or when you reapplied? And then finally, we were talking on the executive committee about trying to connect new and returning members. So for the returning members, if you are interested and available to reach out or be available to talk to the new members, and if they have questions or want to know more about the committee, please do that as well. So, and I'm gonna, if we were in person, we would just go around the room and it would be very obvious and efficient. But with the virtual, I think I will just call people as we go. So I'll start just to sort of show maybe how fast this will go, and I'll time myself too. So I'm Matthew Dudell, Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator in Minneapolis Public Works. I've been with the city now for about 6 years, which is wild to me. It both has went by really fast and seems like a really long time at the same time. I love the PAC. It's one of my favorite parts of my job, and particularly trying the best I can to connect what you all are telling us at the city to our elected officials, including the mayor, city council, and then as needed or as helpful, Park Board and Hennepin County and Mndot. And then connecting that voice that you have to public works staff as well. So I really like that part of the PAC. Looking back a few years, I was probably most proud, or at least definitely was proud of, in those first couple of years, working with you all to develop 2 programs in our CIP. CIP is Capital Improvement Program. It's a list of the projects that we're going to build. So you all have been telling us for years that you want improved pedestrian crossings at intersections that aren't signalized, and then also to fill sidewalk gaps. And so that's something that I'm proud of. We developed a program so we're able to build those every year. And then, gosh, favorite place to walk in Minneapolis? I would say generally walking for distance or recreation, especially during the pandemic, I've really enjoyed. So pretty much anywhere I can, but it's been around the lakes and trails over the past year. So that was 1 minute and 45 seconds. So that is basically about the time that we're looking for. So I am going to call, I think the first one I see is the phone number. So Donna, do you want to tell us about that? And if you need any reiterating of the questions, please let me know. So Donna.
Yeah, I'm Don. You wanted me to talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Donna Hemp. I'm in the 3rd Ward. My biggest reason for going on to the PAC is I'm also on the MACOPD committee, and I want to be a liaison between the disabled and people that don't have a disability. And my favorite, well, I don't really walk that much because it's now, especially in the winter, but I really like when we got those talking signal lights in. I think that really helped blind people downtown. And that's it.
Donna, you used an acronym. What's MACPD?
MACOPD.
Yeah.
That's the Minneapolis Advisory Council for Persons with Disabilities.
Great, cool, thanks. And that is a similar, it's an advisory committee similar to the PAC.
Right.
Great. Thank you, Donna. Okay. Next, Abigail.
Hi, I'm Abigail Johnson. I use she, her pronouns. My favorite part of being on the committee truly has been the people I've met and the connections I've made and the socialization. I've made some really wonderful friends on the PAC, and that's just, and I joined the PAC right after I moved back to Minneapolis. So right from New York, actually. So like the car culture of Minneapolis kind of shocked me, and that's why I even joined the PAC. And then I made all these wonderful friends, which is why I stay on the PAC. And my favorite place to walk in Minneapolis lately has been up and down Lake Street. I've been finding myself having to go east and then west again. And I just like it because there's like shops and things happening. And the cars aren't great on it because it's like a, 4-lane undivided county street, whatever. But I just like that it's like it has a city feel. So that's where I've been walking lately that I love. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you, Abigail. Adelaide.
All right, that was quick. I'm sorry, my camera angle is stupid, so just, I don't normally get this dumb. So I'm Adelaide Koski. I'm up here in the 1st Ward. I might be the only Northeaster on the PAC. I'm not sure. And this is going to sound like a weird thing that I really like about the PAC, but I like the idea that it gives me cred when I yell at my husband to slow down when he's driving. Because my thought is that if we get involved by running over a pedestrian, that really is not a good look. So it also, my kids kind of think it's interesting to hear about what the different issues are. My favorite place to walk is really just anywhere around my neighborhood. Today I actually went out and shoveled the neighbor's sidewalk to make it more nice for me. My least favorite place would be probably Lowry Avenue right now. There's a county plan to redo it. They haven't gotten onto it yet. They're starting to construct bigger apartment buildings along it. And so we're in this kind of weird crunch time. So I think that would be it. All right, bye.
All right, thank you. And sorry, I forgot to take off the PowerPoint, but now it's done. So thanks, Adelaide. Barb Olson.
Hi, everyone. I've been on the PAC now about 4 years, maybe a little bit less. And I came on the PAC. What I really like about the PAC is the energy and power of all the people that are at the meeting. I love the passion that people bring to this. I've been a walker my whole life. I've walked the city of Minneapolis since I was a kid, and I love walking. And then when I came on the PAC, I was in the process of having knee replacement on both of my knees. And so I haven't been walking as much, but I love that passion. I love talking about these issues. I like supporting pedestrian access in our city. I think it's really important, and it makes the city much more engaging. I got here because a friend of mine had served on the PAC from the park board, and I had worked on the park board CAC for Bde-Makaska and worked on the equity committee to get Bde-Makaska the name change on that lake. And that was a really wonderful experience. And she said, you should come to the PAC, you would really like it. So that's how I got here. And I wrote to Matthew and he called me, and pretty soon I was here. My favorite place to walk is in my neighborhood around Minnehaha Falls and around the park, Minnehaha Park and the Parkway. I spent a lot of time walking there with my dog and my husband, and during the pandemic, we did that a lot. I would be more than willing to be a person that somebody wanted to talk to. I had questions. I don't think I know everything, but I'd be glad to struggle through it with you. So if anybody has questions or wants to know, I also co-chair the INE committee, which surprised me. I thought I'd want to be on PNP. I love both of them, but I really surprised myself by liking engineering. I think it's a great committee. So that's all I've got to say. Good to see you all.
Thanks, Barb.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Hi. Aaron Berger is my name, and I live in Longfellow in Minneapolis. I'll just start by saying my place where I walk the most right now, and I really enjoy walking, is down by the Mississippi River. We have a dog who, like, in the summertime when people are shooting off fireworks, she's extremely skittish, and that has carried over into like not wanting to walk after dark like ever, which in the winter is very difficult. But she thinks that the river, she thinks our neighborhood, like right around her house, is haunted, but the river is okay. Like, it's not frightening for her. So we spend a lot of time walking down in that part of the city. My favorite part of being on the PAC is I would agree with Barb that the INE meetings are a lot of fun. I'm the other co-chair of that committee. And the reason I like them so much is because there's so much to learn and so much expertise that like the other members of the PAC have that is just really exciting to be around. What brought me to the PAC was when I was in grad school for public health. I did a project on bicycling and health with Mndot, and it was just really exciting, and I wanted to get involved in one of the committees. Oh, and also got my friend Joshua Hodak got me involved in the 38th Street bike lanes over here in Longfellow, and going to the public meetings and speaking up about that was really engaging for me. So I decided to apply for an advisory committee of some kind. The Public Health Advisory Committee wouldn't have me, so I came to the PAC.
All right. Thank you so much, Aaron. Sonia.
All right, I'm going to turn on my video. Okay, great. My name is Sonia Brosath. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a planner at Metro Transit in the engineering department, so I'm an agency rep and I don't vote. What's been my favorite part? Really getting to hear this group's passion and expertise. I think Barb was talking about the energy, but it gives me so much energy to hear about people's walking, and for a group to make the connection between really pleasant and safe walking conditions and transit is like, makes my heart sing, you know? It's great just to have transit adjacent friends. And what else? What brought me to the PAC? Well, Steve Mahowald told me about some of the discussions when I first started working at Metro Transit in 2018, and I knew that I wanted in because I wanted to hear about all these great ideas for using public space. My favorite place to walk in Minneapolis, I'm going to shout out the Stay Healthy Streets, because early in the pandemic, I was walking a lot in that South Minneapolis route, and it was great just to see like these streets largely blocked off except for local access, and people were playing, and there was like fun, weird stuff in the roundabouts planted there. So that was really cool. I hope those come back. And my least favorite place to walk, it's a segment by Metro Transit's Haywood building. It's on North 5th Street. So I don't know if you guys are familiar, but with this part of downtown, it's like right in front of Ramp B, and it's like a one-way street, and then it allows the cars to turn into Ramp B like against the one-way. It's really weird. It's a bad place, but that's all I got.
All right. Chris Ross.
Hey everyone, can you guys hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Hi, I'm a new member. I am just looking forward to, my name is Chris Ross, if you didn't hear that from Matthew. I have a wife and a small 2-year-old son, keeps us both on our toes. We live in Ward 12, I believe. It's Standish, so we're kind of down by Lake Nokomis. I am, let's see, what am I looking forward to? Learning how the PAC comes to what decisions they make. There's a lot of information you guys go through. So as a new member, it's kind of surprising what I had to read up on, but it's really cool. And it's really, I'm looking forward to learning from each and every one of you. And it's really nice to see you guys and hear your own stories. What brought me to the PAC was we're very active as a small young family. And so I take our son bike riding and walking and very active. So I'm really interested in just knowing how I can have an impact on not only my neighborhood, but anything that relates to families and children and how they're impacted by the community. Let's see, favorite place to walk. I'd have to say my neighborhood, also the Lake Hiawatha area with the beach and the pool area there. That's the first experience my son's gonna have with a beach of any kind. And so, I don't know, it's all kind of special to me in this part of town. So my education is in psychology, so I'm probably going to always look at things from a psychological lens with the things that we're, reviewing and implementing or whatever we're doing. So I will sum it up there, I guess, and hopefully that was about a minute and a half or so.
That was perfect, actually. Thank you. And welcome to the pack. Christopher Hofer.
Hi there. My name is Christopher Hofer, and I live in Ward 7 in the Loring Park neighborhood. I first came into the pack because I had had a recent medical adventure, and it had sort of changed my relationship with how walking was in the city. And somebody mentioned it to me that this might be a good place to sort of explore that more with the the impairments that I had at that time. And it has really been the right move. My favorite part of being on the pack is definitely having expertise available to me, both through the agency and department reps, as well as the voting members. There's a ton of experience and passion in this group, and just being around that and having just a place to ask questions is phenomenal. My favorite place to walk these days is specifically in the street. I have been radicalized by Julia, and I absolutely am walking 75% of the time in the streets now because the sidewalks are less accommodating. A place that I really don't like to walk is that, 200 meters from Hennepin Avenue Methodist south to Franklin, because you've got on ramps and off ramps from 94. You've got surface on the walking portion of it that's not great with winter maintenance or and it's too busy to walk in the street. So that is my current least favorite place. I be more than happy to, if anybody wants to give me a call, any new members, just to ask any questions or touch base on something, more than happy to do that. And yeah, thanks.
Thanks. And Julia has radicalized a lot of us, I believe. So it's fun to hear that. Emily.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Cattell. I'm with Hennepin County Public Works. I'm a planner on the bike ped team. I've been with the county for about 3.5 years now, and I think I've been attending the PAC meetings for about that same amount of time. I've enjoyed a lot of the discussions that come out of the PAC meetings. I feel like there's a lot of really thoughtful discussions for all of the projects and programs that are presented to the group, and appreciate the feedback we get on ours. I really enjoy that liaison role in sharing what I hear here with others at the county. So that's been really fun for me. My favorite place to walk, I live sort of close to Lake Hiawatha, so it's been really nice to walk around my neighborhood and have access to some trails nearby.
Great. Thanks, Emily. Millicent.
Hi, everybody. My name is Millicent Flowers. I'm an employee of Minneapolis Public Works, she, her, and along with Matthew and Chris, we staff the PAC. And I think my favorite part of being with the PAC is just to see, like others said, how passionate you guys are about your input to these projects. We see so many interesting projects. You guys have a lot to say about them, and you're always thinking of the good of the pedestrian and making sure the details are correct. And I've learned a lot from being a part of this group. And that's how I came to the PAC. And my favorite place to walk in Minneapolis is, well, I'm not walking around much since we're all kind of trapped at home, but I really love walking around downtown and Northeast and all the neighborhoods, everywhere. I'm a big city girl. I was born and raised in Chicago, and anything that looks like a city and trucks and cars and everything, even though I don't like to bike in the street, I love to walk around, but I hate walking around in the warehouse district. There's something about those blocks and the way things are set up and those big opposing, I don't know, those buildings. I really don't like it over there. But any place else in Minneapolis, I'm really happy to walk. So nice to meet everybody that's new, and I'm willing to help you if you have any questions.
Thanks, Millicent. Heather.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Heather Gillick. I use the she suite of she, her, hers. I have been on the PAC for a little under 2 years now, and I work with the Minneapolis Health Department as the manager of the Healthy Living Initiative. What I really like about the PAC is being able to learn about some of the issues that are facing folks who are walking, including me, but also everyone on this committee, and really amplify those issues as they're brought to light in this space, both at the health department and in kind of changing our approach and creating new programming opportunities within our SHIP work. And that's the statewide health improvement partnership that allows us from the health department to focus on policy systems and environmental change. So a lot of what I learn in the PAC, I'm able to amplify into those larger state networks, and it gives me some really great perspectives that I would otherwise not be able to learn. It's also really helped to deepen the collaboration between our Healthy Living Initiative work and what happens at Public Works. And so it creates this nice way for folks at the health department to learn about all the acronyms that we're learning about here as new members of the PAC, because it's really complicated stuff and we have a lot of different ways to do that work as well. My favorite walk right now is about I'm going to say on and around the lakes with my tiny dog, Pogi. He is learning to love the snow. This is his first year in Minnesota, so he's adjusting. I'm always happy to get out with him. And some of my least favorite places to walk are places where I have to do sketchy crossings of large streets with busy cars, fast ones especially, that aren't watching. And at any rate, I'm happy to connect and continue to learn more. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather. Sarah.
Hi, everyone. Sarah Dudell. I am a new PAC member. I'm really excited to be here, and I live in Southwest Minneapolis. I'm over in Lyndhurst, and I guess the main impetus for me to apply to join the PAC was earlier, well, actually, no, it's 2021 now. So last year, when the pandemic started and they closed down the parkways, especially I live right over by Lake Harriet, closed down the roads and opened them to be just to pedestrians. And I was like, this is amazing. So everyone could maintain social distancing. And also just like, I was like, it should be like this all the time. And I loved it. And then when they opened them back up to cars, I was pretty fired up about that and pretty unhappy about that, and was doing a ton of research about it and all these other cities that had started to do that because of the pandemic as well, and we're going to like maintain that. And I was like, that's what we need to do here. So anyways, that was kind of the main thing that got me excited. And I also grew up in the Twin Cities, but then lived in New York and Chicago, where I walked as my main form of transportation. And then coming back here, it's different, like being in a predominantly driving city, but I still feel like walking is so cultural here, and I love it that people just like go for walks. That's just like what we do. And yeah, it's very much in my blood, and I love it. And I would say favorite place to walk. I mean, again, I grew up by Lake Harriet. I live by Lake Harriet now, so like just so many memories there. I love walking that lake. Big rollerblader, so love rollerblading as well. And I'm over by Minnehaha Creek, which I'd never explored before, and I've been doing so much exploring of all of those paths, and it's so cool, and like really cool wildlife there. It's just amazing. So it's my new favorite spot.
Great. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks.
Julia.
Was that a foreboding laugh, Neil?
It was. Yeah, you have no opinions about anything. I don't know what you're going to say.
I'm Julia, she, he, they, and let's see, I have always way too much to say, but I'm co-chair of the PNP. So first, a plug for showing up to those meetings. To me, INE is the candy of the PAC. It's really fun, but you don't always get to dig into sort of the broader system issues. It's sort of that lighter stuff, the details. And so come to the PNP, and one of the P's likely stands for party. We definitely have done trail mix things in the past. I also am very happy to talk to anybody about walking about the pack. I've been on for about 5 years, and I work from home and don't talk to enough people. So I'm happy to do the video, social distance walk, any of that for any new or returning members, phone, all of it. I joined PAC in part because I was caretaking for my father, who was born in 1920, on foot. I'm car free for life, and I have my driver's permit, but never have had more than that. And there were a lot of frustrations and a lot of things that became evident that I was aware of, but not as sort of viscerally aware of till he and I were trying to get around the city on foot as he's slowed down more and more. And joining the PAC was a way for me to take everything that was part of those conversations and find meaning in it beyond caretaking. His background was as a civil engineer, and he grew up in the same area that he turned 100 in Minneapolis, and also has lived around the world. But his views, what he shared, the way that I was raised to not see cars as a default, and as a very cranky person who, cranky about sidewalks, I guess. The PAC kind of gave me an outlet for this energy of wanting the city to be more equitable, more just, less racist, especially as climate breakdown spirals. Oh, I see a hand. Should I just add Matthew?
Yeah.
When that hand popped up.
Yeah, I think so. Welcome, or good to see you again, Julia. I'll start raising my hand like that, just move it through. So Julie.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julie Danzel. I am the Student Wellness Manager for Minneapolis Public Schools. And so I am an agency rep like some of us here today, but I'm also a city resident. I live in the Lindale neighborhood. I'm an MPS parent. I have 2 kids that have, one's already gone through MPS, and I have a junior in high school. And so I feel like I get to wear kind of a lot of different hats when I'm here. I have been on the PAC, I should look, a long time, maybe 10 years. I'm not quite sure. I've been with the district about 15, but definitely a longtime member of the PAC. And it has been really fun to see kind of the evolution of the Pedestrian Advisory Committee from when I first joined to where we are now. This empowered group, this full of advocacy and knowledge, has been just really, really amazing to see. And the benefit for schools and children that walk to schools, and having a place where schools are both kind of seen and heard, both on the BAC and on the PAC. I have a colleague who works a lot on safe routes to school, who serves on the Bicycle Advisory Committee. So that, I would say, is one of the things that's been really exciting, is just kind of seeing the evolution and growth. Okay. I too love to walk in my neighborhood every morning. That's how I have to start my day if I'm going to be productive, is I get my 1 mile walk in and my 2 mile walk in after dinner. So thanks.
Sorry, I've been trying to do it. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep doing it. All right, thank you, Julie. Chris.
Hey, I'm Chris Kartheiser. I also staff the Pedestrian Advisory Committee with Matthew and Millicent. I'm an associate transportation planner with Public Works, so I also end up on the other end, coming to present at times to the committee. And I tend to kind of help out with the subcommittees a little bit more as well. I use he, him pronouns as well. And so one of the favorite things in the last year, I guess I'll say, so I've been with Public Works for 3 years, and I've been working on our transportation action plan about as long. And we finally passed that with the help of the PAC in December of 2020. And the Pedestrian Advisory Committee put a ton of time into that. For new folks, that's like our big guiding policy for transportation. And so we had a very long engagement process and lots of in-depth conversations and multiple resolutions and a lot of stuff. So that was one of the big things. And then as far as a place to walk, I really enjoy walking at the Minnehaha Dog Park. And I have a new puppy, which is 16 weeks old. So I haven't been able to go to a dog park until like for the last month or something like that, or a little longer than that. And so he's almost done with the vaccinations, and then we'll get to go back to there again, which will be nice. And also for the other Chris, I'm also in Standish, so maybe I'll see you walking around at some point, and welcome all new members. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. Matt.
All right. My name's Matt Steinrich. I am also a new member. I live in Ward 10 in Whittier. And I kind of ended up here because I'm someone who's always complaining to everyone around me about cars and cars driving too fast, and live in a neighborhood where there's a ton of people always out walking. And with 35W being shut down, it just seems to have gotten a lot worse. And I wasn't really hearing anything back from city council when I would try to bring up any issues. So I had a friend who said, why don't you do something? So just kind of excited to see where this goes and see if there's a way that I can be involved. My favorite place to walk during the spring and summer and fall would probably be the Eloise Butler Wildflower Garden. This time of year, I usually choose a different lake every day to walk around. So I'm excited for the spring again. And my least favorite would be any intersections in the winter when it's icy and not plowed and people are trying to get across a street and it's not exactly easy to do.
Welcome, Matt. I think this group can definitely relate to not liking all those cars. So I appreciate that. Neil.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I'm on? Good. My name's Neil. I've been on, how long have I been on the damn committee? I've been on at least 11 years. And when I started, we really didn't know, Julius can remember this, we really didn't know how to behave or what kind of clout we'd have. So it's been fun to watch this committee develop some leverage, and actually quite a bit. It moved the city away from cars and toward pedestrians, which has been a process that's very interesting. I live on 38th, so I walk a lot on 38th Street, which is always interesting because there's always something going on, especially lately because of Floyd Square. And I walk in there a lot, and usually I stay instead of going any further because there's plenty to do, and we're occupying a city intersection, which has been a real experience. What was I going to say? I would be more than happy to confuse anybody further about anything about the PAC, because there's a lot to learn, and man, you are going to have a lot of information come at you in all these meetings. Please drop me a line if you need to know, especially about acronyms, because they drive me crazy. Even when I know them, I mean, I hate them. But so if you, that's all I guess I can say about that. How much time do I have? That's probably enough.
That's probably good.
You're raising your hand.
Great. Welcome, Neil. Or I mean, thanks, Neil. Emma.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Pachuta. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a representative for the Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. I have been on the park board for about 1.5 years, so I've been attending meetings for about the same amount of time. And before that, I actually worked at Move Minnesota, which works on issues around walking, biking, and transit. So I do care about this issue a lot and think about this issue a lot. I kind of like what a lot of other folks said. I really enjoy the conversations that happen here and the people that come to the table for these conversations. It's a really fun group to participate in. And it's also really great to think about how the issues that you all talk about, how I can bring that back to the park board as we think about streets and paths in our network as well. I guess favorite place to walk, it's kind of turned into my neighborhood. I try different routes like every day pretty much to keep things lively. And then I think my least favorite place to walk, I live in Northeast and I really hate walking Central Avenue, kind of the ramp that goes up to Broadway and that Broadway intersection. It's a really, really unfriendly place to walk, bike, or take transit. So thank you.
Thanks, Emma. Paul St. Martin.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paul St. Martin. I've been on the committee for about 2.5 years now. I'm an engineer. I used to work for the city of St. Paul. I'm been retired about 4 years now. So So what brought me to the committee is when I worked for St. Paul, and I was really involved in walking and pedestrian safety, and I wanted to stay involved in that as part of the committee. So I really enjoyed my time with the committee. We've got to review a lot of neat projects, and I'm heartened. You know, during the time I've been on the committee, I think the city staff, even though we give them a hard time sometimes, they really come along on their perspective on the design and really considering pedestrians, bikes, pedestrians safety as part of their designs. And, you know, it's a work in progress, but, you know, just in the 2.5 years I've been on the committee, the city's made a lot of progress in that arena. I live downtown, so I enjoy walking along the river. My wife and I go for some long walks, especially with COVID. We've been out walking quite a bit. My least enjoyable walk right now is walking through downtown because it's very quiet. There's not a lot of pedestrians walking on the streets. You know, the amount of vehicles is less also, but it's just kind of dead downtown right now. So I'm looking forward to when that opens up again and the restaurants are more busy and there's more people out on the street. That's it for me.
Great. Thanks, Paul. Peter Vader.
Oh, thank you. Hi, all. Hi, Chris, Sarah, Matt, welcome. I'm Peter Vader. I'm he, him, his, and co-chair of the PAC's Programs and Policies Subcommittee with Julia Curran. It's just been a pleasure over 4 or 5 years, I guess, whatever it is, participating alongside, I mean, giants of thought and advocacy and enthusiasm and expertise, and just hearing just from meeting to meeting at subcommittees and full meetings what people's personal experiences are and giving their own personal insights as to what it takes to traverse our fair city. My favorite part of being on the board so far is not necessarily an accomplishment, but I think our ongoing commitment and continuous push to keep the climate emergency forefront in our work and in our resolutions. And that's to see that spread across our full PAC has been tremendous. But it certainly came at the loud spring of Julia Curran. Favorite place to walk? I live car-free deep in Ward 11. So what I like to do is get outside of anywhere out of my homogeneous single-family home dense area and get to anywhere that's more mixed use. We have an industrial area in Wyndham that has a stainless steel fabricator and a beer brewer that now has a coffee program in the morning, and tons of other stuff. And I see if something new, there's rail yards and a gravel yard and all this stuff. And every time I go over there, I see something new, and it's been there for decades. So that's pretty cool. Least favorite, I'm going to go with 2 things. Anywhere that's been recently seal coated, that's worse on bikers. But the rocks, 15% of which never get swept up, end up where we're walking. And once they do, they migrate into everything and never go away. My world's worst technology, seal coating. And other thing, I'm going to really edgelord it up here. Least favorite place to walk is the lakes. I feel like I'm I feel like I'm shuffled there in the winter. If I want to walk, go walk the lakes. I like to walk to go places. And I've walked, God knows I've walked Lake Nokomis 2,000 times. And all the other ones too. So I certainly walk them, but that would put them at the lower at the bottom of the list. I like to walk to go places. That's kind of the end of it. Anyway, having said that, I'm happy to reach out myself to any 2021 members as we go through the year and help and talk to anyone in any way I can. Thank you.
Sounds great, Peter. Thanks. Heidi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heidi Shahlberg. I use she, her. So I'm one of the agency reps. I work as a transportation planner for the Metropolitan Council, which is the regional planning agency for the area. I don't remember when I started on this committee. I've been on for several years. I was really happy when somebody at work had said, hey, Minneapolis has this committee and we need a rep on it. And I'd just say kind of one of my favorite things is what a lot of people have already mentioned, is kind of the energy and passion of this group. So even though I feel like, our work and role doesn't necessarily always intersect with the work that you're doing on the committee, this is always kind of a highlight of my work day to be able to come to this group. Anytime that you get this many people passionate about walking is a joyous thing to me. So I'm also a St. Paul resident. I live right across from Minneapolis, so right across the Ford Bridge. So I see Minneapolis every time I walk out my front door, but so I'm also envious as a resident because we just have a transportation committee that I serve on as a resident. We don't have a specific pedestrian committee. I wish we did. So one of my favorite places to walk, probably in the pandemic, has been just kind of exploring kind of all the nooks and crannies along the river. When it was lowered early, I don't remember what month that was. Was that October? When the river was lowered, whenever that was. It was just kind of like on a mission to like find all the places I had not been, to try to get down closer to the river on the Minneapolis side. So, and probably one of my least favorite, basically anywhere unsignalized crossings on undivided 4-lane roads. So they're arterial. So happy to be here.
Thanks, Heidi. Ratana.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ratana Sangsley Jun. I use he, him pronouns. I work as a city planner for the city of Minneapolis, and I'm the rep for the Department of Community Planning and Economic Development. I've served on the committee for, I think, a little over 4 years now, and I'm really proud of just all the advocacy work that from you all as committee members, and specifically, over the years with Minneapolis 2040, our recently updated comprehensive plan, and as well as the transportation action plan as well, and just all the input and feedback that you all and all the experiences that you provided within those processes. I live in the Cleveland neighborhood in North Minneapolis. So one of my favorite places to walk right now is just Victory Memorial Parkway, where we live a couple blocks from there. My least favorite is just generally like anywhere near parking ramps. Like I'm just like so frustrated with like these curb cuts and cars just pulling in and out, and anywhere that's not really being shoveled during this season. So. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ratana. And then I believe last, unless we'll go back and check to see if anybody else hopped on, and definitely not least, Mackenzie.
Thanks, Neil.
anytime I can help.
So I'm Mackenzie Turner Bargain. I work as Mndot Metro District's pedestrian and bicycle coordinator. So I'm not your returning member from Mndot. That will be Chensma Walker, who I'm covering for them today. So I wish they were here to introduce themselves, but I have had involvement with this group in the past, and I probably will maybe sometime in the future again, but I've been on and off involved since it was created back in 2008. So there's a long history there. It's been exciting to see things happen. But in my job, I'm kind of the professional dot connector, I would say, between our agency, but internally across all the different projects. Ultimately, everything's a pedestrian project at the end of the day with the state transportation system, whether it's trying to keep it from blocking things or to make things better. But I think that favorite place to walk in Minneapolis, I live right in downtown. So it's one of those things where I love walking anywhere along the river, the Mississippi River. There are so many different things to see and explore. So whether it's the dog park with my family or the North Loop sort of playground area where Bassett's Creek is great. And my least favorite place to walk is probably the place I have to walk most often, which is Park Avenue, where I live in downtown. There's a lot of room for improvement. We'll say that to be nice, but yeah, but glad to see everybody's faces since I don't get here that often. And as far as I'm always willing to talk to people. If you have any questions about anything Mndot related or just over the years, things that I've had experience with, I will say that, am I available? I'm kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes. So keep trying. I'm not ignoring you on purpose, I promise. So
great. Thanks, Mackenzie. All right, so I'm just gonna, I guess, keep going. I have a few more slides, mainly to talk through, but thanks everyone for taking the time to introduce yourself. Did take a long time, about an hour, but I think it's good just for everyone to see each other and get to know each other a little bit. So I'm gonna start back up the PowerPoint, just showing a Public Works website, which I bet you might not ever come back here again, but just know that it's here, and it's there's a lot of information that Public Works does that you could look at if you're interested. I did want to highlight a little bit. Public Works is a huge department in the city of Minneapolis, and we have 9 divisions. So transportation is a huge part of it, but it's definitely not all Public Works does. So the divisions include administration, surface waters and sewers, solid waste and recycling, water treatment and distribution services, fleet services, and those are the I guess, transportation specific divisions, although all of them are definitely involved in transportation, especially construction and design as well. But maybe more importantly for this group is there are 4 transportation divisions. So me, Chris, and Millicent are in the transportation planning and programming division. And we'll cover kind of as we go a little bit more about what each division does. But you'll mostly see staff from my division because we're the planning group basically. So we one of the big things that you'll see from us is that the engineering subcommittee will bring transportation construction projects that are in the design phase at what we call 0% and then 30% or layout. And again, I'll explain that a little bit more at a later time. But those are basically checkpoints in the life of the design process for construction. And so there's a lot of public engagement that goes on and a lot of like, connecting to our policy and our plans and that type of thing. And so that's part of what our group does. The other side is the planning side. And so our group led the development of the Transportation Action Plan and Complete Streets Policy and things like that. And then I'll go a little faster through the others, but there's so much. So transportation engineering and design, that's the group that once we have a layout for a street where we kind of know what it's going to look like, that team, the engineers there, take that layout and then do all of the final design, all the engineering details. Typically results in a thick, document that you might not ever be interested in for light reading, but has all of the engineering details that are so important to make sure the street is constructed properly. And then the third transportation division is traffic and parking services. In a way, those could be 2 separate divisions in the title. So traffic, they really manage the flow of traffic for all modes, walking, biking, transit, and driving in our streets. They take care of the signals, where the signs go, and a lot of other things, striping, and things like that. And then the parking services, I'm sure you could guess that as well. They deal with all of the parking issues in Public Works. And then the final division, transportation maintenance and repair. Again, each of these divisions do a lot of things, but the 2 that are probably the biggest there that comes to my mind is they construct our streets and then also maintain it. And that includes winter maintenance, the quality of the pavement and things like that. So there's also some fun facts if you're interested. You could look there later. I'll highlight a few that are just very interesting. So 1,000 miles. We manage 1,000 miles of water pipes. There's 8,000 hydrants in the city, 100,000 street signs. So just a massive undertaking, I guess, from Public Works. And so I think I'll just stop there from that slide. A little bit about staffing. I think we've covered this, especially for the new members, but Millicent, Chris, and I team up to help staff the PAC and BAC. Again, as we noted, we all really love managing and working with you all, often on a week-to-week basis because of the 3 different meetings for each committee. You'll see Millicent mostly through the administration, so you get all the emails from Millicent, and she does so much on the administrative end, making sure that all of the different information systems are covered. And then Chris, one of the primary roles is managing the subcommittees and just helping support those. So purpose of the committee, I'll just kind of lightly go over this. It's really important, though, that one of the main roles is to advise the mayor, city council, park board, county, Mndot, and others on pedestrian issues. And I like to highlight that one of the best ways to do that, or one of the most visible, is through passing formal resolutions that are then shared with the mayor, city council, and others that I mentioned, as well as leadership in public works. So that's a really important role, and you'll see that tonight after this presentation in action. A little bit about the structure, and the chairs will talk about that a little bit more coming up, but this is the full committee. And the way it typically works, the cadence is to have the two subcommittees and then funnel that information and any resolutions up to the full committee. And so those two subcommittees are programs and policies. And that group advises on policies, programs, and practices related to walking in Minneapolis. And then the second one is infrastructure and engineering subcommittee, and that advises on the design elements for construction projects in Minneapolis. You've heard this a variety of times through the introductions, but I wanted to highlight a pretty unique and interesting part of the structure of the advisory committee. And so agency members. Agency members are staff of the organizations on the screen, and I'll read them in a second. So they're staff of these organizations, and they show up to help give advice or guidance on walking issues, and then also, as some of them mentioned, to connect what you're saying back to their organization. And I think it's a really interesting and unique function of this committee that not all of the advisory committees have, because I think it just helps build context and richness of discussion, and that back and forth I think has been super helpful and valuable. And so those agency members are Hennepin County, Mndot, Public Schools, Park and Recreation Board, U of M, Metropolitan Council, Metro Transit, City Council rep, Suzanne Murphy. She wasn't on the call today, but she helps connect the city council members, and then Health Department, and then CPED. I want to show you a couple websites that I think are really important, and then we'll be almost done. So it's Minneapolis LIMS, and that stands for Legislative Information Management System, I believe. And so that's where like the public is best able to connect to these meetings. So all of our meetings are open to the public, and you can find that information on Minneapolis LIMS. And so I just wanted to show real quick the easiest way to get there is just Google Minneapolis LIMS. It should be the first one that you can click on. And then under calendar and agendas, if you click that, there's boards and commissions. And then just search Pedestrian Advisory Committee all the way down there in the alphabet list. And then there's the full committee and then the two subcommittees. And so that's really helpful if you wanted to check the agenda. And if you're a member of the public, which obviously everyone on the call isn't, that's an opportunity for them to call in and join the meeting as well. And you can see the agenda. And then the second thing I wanted to show is a website that Public Works manages. And so similarly, you could Google Minneapolis Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And this website, I think, would be most important if you just want to see some of the, I guess, different details of the committee. But also, we have set it up so if you're interested in resolutions that have been passed in the past, in recent history, we set it up so it's basically you can see really easily, hopefully conveniently, the topic of the agenda. And so, for example, if you wanted to see comments on TAP, you can just, one click and then just see what was passed. And I use it all the time when I'm trying to, remember what was passed or remember a certain topic. So that is what I wanted to share around that topic. And then I guess going into attendance expectations, whenever members join, we try to recommend and encourage everybody attending the full committee each month, and then at least one of the subcommittees. And you don't have to choose, there's no signing up or or telling anyone which one. It's just sort of a general recommendation. And then there's a lot of people that attend all 3 meetings, and that is fantastic as well. So if you are interested in one or the other, maybe give that one a try. And if you want to try both, I think that would be great as well. Okay, so now on to executive committee elections. So that was just a little bit of the makeup of the committee. Typically, what we've done in the past is usually closer to the beginning, we'll have elections. The executive committee did meet, and I'm going to go over each of these in a second. But the executive committee met in the development of this application, and I guess thought, or we talked about wanting to hold off on formal elections until the next committee is set this July. And one thing I don't know that we covered earlier is that every year there are appointments to the Pedestrian Advisory Committee, so it's split. So about half of the committee is up for re-election every year, all on 2-year cycles. And so, you know, given the pandemic and how everything was delayed, and you know, we'll be starting up, you know, applications again pretty soon. There was an idea that we would just somebody could make a motion to keep the current executive committee in place until July. So in a moment, if somebody wants to make that resolution or that motion, we can do that, or we can just talk through what people are comfortable with. But real quick, I just wanted to go over what the executive committee is and what the different positions are. So again, oops, sorry. 1 second, please. I'm getting things mixed up. Okay, so there are 7 positions for the executive committee, and so they are chair, vice chair, secretary, and then each of the 2 subcommittees has co-chairs. And so the chair, the roles and responsibility for that position runs the full committee. So the one that'll call to order and yeah, chair the meeting. But the chair also has the opportunity to broadly represent the PAC and often serves as a first point of contact from staff when something's needed. It could be like a media thing, or there could be a challenging issue. That would be my first contact. But that can also include delegating opportunities to others as well. The vice chair, I would say the most important role is to chair the full committee meeting if the chair is absent, and then also that position is on the executive committee as well. And then secretary takes minutes at the full committee meeting. They save the minutes and then send them to staff. Oh, and I should say, just in case it's not clear, the current chair, Abigail, current vice chair is Christopher Hofer. Neil is the secretary currently. And then the co-chairs of the subcommittee, that role is to coordinate with staff to set the agenda of each of the committee meetings. They chair the subcommittee and then either take the minutes or delegate that responsibility to others. And then finally, that role provides a verbal subcommittee report at the full committee. And so the current co-chairs of I&E, so infrastructure and engineering, is Aaron and Barb. And then the co-chairs of P&P are Julia, and I know this. Who's the other co-chair?
Peter Vader.
Peter Vader, of course. Yes. Sorry.
And he's watching it.
I mean it almost through, but yes, of course I knew that. Peter. So, and again, when they say executive committee, so the group of 7, those people plus me, and then Chris and Millicent, they meet about 8 days. So the 2 Tuesdays before this meeting to set the agenda, and that's via a conference call at 3 o'clock. And so that's the main role. So we meet, we talk about what the agenda will be, and wrestle with any issues that we need to deal with sort of in preparation for the meetings. So does anybody have any questions on that? And if there's if there's any discussion that people would like to have about the election process, we can do that in a minute. And so I guess, yeah, any questions at this time about the role or any position? Okay. And if not, I guess at this time, I would I guess maybe ask Abigail as our chair to take it from here and seek, you know, a resolution or a resolution to either I guess it would be a member's job to make a motion to have the current executive committee be appointed through the end of June, if you desire.
So as Matthew was saying, elections will happen again at the July meeting, so only 5-6 months from now. So I would like to move to reappoint every officer to their position until that time.
I second that.
And I'll open it for discussion. All right. Without any discussion, I think it's time to vote.
Millicent, you call the roll?
Yeah, okay, so we're moving to keep everybody until the next election in July, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm only going to read the names of the people who are eligible to vote. Aaron?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Adelaide?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Chris Hoffer?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Neil?
Aye.
Paul St. Martin?
Yes.
Peter Vader?
Aye.
Okay, so we have 9 yeses.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And then the last thing I'll say about this is the way the process will go in July will be a little different. We'll likely explain all the roles again, and then go in order and have somebody, you know, nominate for chair, and that can be each one of them can be multiple people, and if there are multiple, then we'll simply vote on which one you prefer, and then just go in order from there. All right, that's all I have. I think we wanted to take this last slide to see if, you know, our chair, subcommittee chair, or any other executive committee members want to, I guess, fill in any details they may have missed about your role in those meetings.
Sure, thanks, Matthew. Yeah, and I want to keep it short for this slide, and hopefully if people do have questions, they know who to contact. Again, Abigail, and I think you have my email address, all members, so you can always feel free to email me. Additional info would be that, I guess, like it was said, we hope that people attend at least one subcommittee meeting. And often how things flow is that things are shown in subcommittees the majority of the time. So the most of the content, projects, new policies, the Transportation Action Plan, for example, the CIP, the Capital Improvement Projects, so the yearly projects that get chosen by the city are shown in these subcommittees, and that's where the work gets done. And then what happens is, out of what we learn in those subcommittees through presentations and discussions, we then write a resolution. That resolution draft is, especially now online, emailed to everybody who attended that meeting. So whoever drafts the resolution emails it to everybody who attended. They can offer up edits, suggestions, or ideas, and then that draft resolution shows up in the full committee agenda so that everybody can read it and prepare notes on it if they have any. So that's usually how things flow, and that's why it's really helpful to attend subcommittee meetings, so you can be a part of the discussion prior to the formation of a resolution. And if there's more information on subcommittees, I'd open it up for the subcommittee chairs to kind of share anything they'd like to share.
I'd like to throw some stuff out there as the programs and policies co-chair. I think one of the things that people aren't necessarily aware of as they join the PAC is that there's a lot going on that doesn't come in front of us for various reasons, and a lot of things that are happening that maybe should that we aren't aware of. So as somebody who is on this committee and tied into whatever connections, networks, observations you are, bringing things forward to other members, to the staff members, the executive committee is really valuable. There's been times where that alertness has helped us be able to respond and positively influence projects that were not necessarily coming before us, considering a pedestrian advisory committee isn't always top of the list for historically car-oriented planning. So whatever you can do and bring forward, don't assume that we know about it, and don't assume that it isn't relevant. I think just talk through it with people. I'd highly encourage that.
Definitely. Thanks, Julia. Anyone from INE or Peter?
What I would say about INE, I mean, I love going to that committee, and I've enjoyed being a co-chair, is that we get the opportunity to see programs and things that are going to happen in the city, sometimes at 0%. So people are just bringing ideas and they're asking for input and reactions, and then they come back to us when they're at 15 or 30%. And we get to give feedback on design and let them know how we feel about certain elements of design in terms of how they affect and impact pedestrian safety and wheelchair safety and moving around the city if you're not using a vehicle. And that's been, I think sometimes we have 4 or 5 projects, and it takes a lot of focus and energy to go through them, but it's such a rich experience that I think it would be really interesting for people to see those projects begin and see them come back. That's one of the things I really like about that committee, and we'd love to have more people coming. So.
Definitely. Would any of the other chairs or my vice chair, Christopher Hofer, like to say anything?
Yes, if I can, I would just like to underscore I found the attendance at the subcommittee meetings just really valuable. That's where the learning and the work and the discussion happens. It's really, it's where like I say, it's where the work gets done. And, there is discussion at a full PAC meeting, but not nearly as much. Just from a time perspective and a scope perspective than the subcommittee meetings. That was kind of the one thing that was the quickest impact on my PAC experience, was starting to attend both subcommittee meetings on a monthly basis. So that's just my 2 cents.
I share that, Christopher. I think that's really valuable.
I agree. If there's nothing else from any other chair, I'd also like to mention that due to the fact that we can't meet in person, which is where a lot of like socialization happens, you show up 10 minutes before the meeting, you get to chat afterwards, you might go out and grab a bite to eat or something, and you just get to talk to people. Since subcommittee meetings start at 4:30 p.m., we are going to be opening up the Microsoft Teams. Staff at Public Works has allowed that to happen, and the non-recorded part of the meeting, we are going to it'll be open. I think we agreed like 15, 20 minutes early. So if you want that social time and be able to talk to people, feel free to show up a little bit early, like 4:10, 4:15 to those 4:30 meetings. And hopefully that'll also help with the feeling of kind of being discombobulated as joining the PAC via virtual. So hopefully that'll be helpful. Neil, as our secretary, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Hold on, I'm writing the notes. Yeah, please come to the subcommittee meetings. That's where it really happens. Although, what am I going to say? Although nothing. That's the whole scene. Yeah, I hope we get out of this Zoom stuff pretty quick. But this is wishful thinking, I'm sure, because the social end is super important. It's amazing how much of what really moves the agenda forward is done by just looking at people or saying non-verbal, non-computer, non-anything. But Well, also be sure to, yeah, as Julie says, be sure to bring out agendas in. The city moves because we see stuff that we hate. And anything. I mean, anytime you walk across an intersection and see a light that ought to be there and it's not, mention it when it's appropriate, or even mention it when it isn't. Keep track of what you see on the street that stinks and bring it in, and we'll gradually change it. Because that's what we do. We have an amazing amount of leverage, and you would never believe how much leverage you've got in this community, because I've done it myself.
And then you can always be assured that at a subcommittee meeting, Neil will say some inappropriate words. So
and that's always entertaining.
right. Does anyone have any questions for us? Lovely. Well, if you ever do, you know who to email, or just email myself or Matthew to know where to funnel that question of any kind. And Matthew, I think if that's everything, are we on to subcommittee reports?
I believe so.
All right, everybody. So we have limited time. As you know, Matthew sent an email. We have 2 subcommittee reports per subcommittee that we have to get through. But luckily, we're still kind of on time. So up next is infrastructure and engineering, and all that content you should have gotten in an email and hopefully been able to look at. Aaron and Barb.
Okay. You want to share it, and you can go first, and I'll take over when you're done.
Sure. Yes. So I'm correct that we're just reading the resolutions, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So let me share my screen.
Good, because I'll read
if I can. Let me see. I have too many windows open. This is a usual experience of my life. Here we go.
Oh no.
All right.
There we go.
So from our December meeting that was to be reported at the January meeting that was canceled, we had several resolutions. The first one is on the Osseo Road reconstruction. The Pedestrian Advisory Committee feels that the Osseo Road reconstruction design does not do enough to connect neighborhoods currently divided by this high-speed road. A design speed of 35 miles per hour is unacceptable for a reconstruction of any street in Minneapolis. The design speed should be 25 miles per hour. As stated in our earlier resolution, we asked for all legs of all intersections to be built to accommodate legal pedestrian crossings, specifically the west side of the intersections with 45th Avenue North and Queen Avenue North, and the east side of the intersection of 44th Avenue North, Penn Avenue North. We further reiterate that NACTO road width guidelines for urban streets with transit call for travel lanes no wider than 11 feet in all project sections. The currently designed medians are incompatible with appropriate lane widths and pedestrian crossings. Further, removal of the staircase to Osseo Road unnecessarily removes a pedestrian amenity. We also ask for pedestrian wayfinding for the stairway connection and an accessible alternative. Would it be faster for me to read all of the resolutions and then we will vote on them individually, or what should we do?
This is Christopher. I would suggest reading them all and move them as a slate. And if there's an objection to moving as a slate, then we can vote independently. But I think we should move them as a slate.
I agree.
Good.
And I want to note, let's do that in this case because we have so many. I just want to note typical practice would be to do them one at a time. So I just want to note that for the future. But yes, that sounds great tonight.
Okay. The second resolution from the December meeting, 2nd Street Northeast and 3rd Avenue Northeast pedestrian improvements. The Pedestrian Advisory Committee supports the design for pedestrian safety improvements at 2nd Street Northeast and 3rd Avenue Northeast. We would like to see crosswalks at the stop signs on 3rd Avenue to improve pedestrian safety. This design should be a model for improving pedestrian safety throughout the city. Third resolution, West 31st Street pedestrian safety improvements. The Pedestrian Advisory Committee supports the bump outs for pedestrian safety at West 31st Street. If possible, we would like to see further narrowing of 31st Street with temporary materials until a bicycle facility is installed. Fourth resolution, the Pedestrian Advisory Committee supports the overall concept of the 15% design for Franklin Avenue West reconstruction. We ask for consideration of RRFBs at the intersection of Bryant and Franklin to provide greater visibility for pedestrian and bicycle crossings and features such as a handrail to support pedestrians with the slope of the hill. Final December resolution, Farview Park sidewalk gap. The Pedestrian Advisory Committee supports the current design for the Farview Park sidewalk gap. We would like to make sure the sidewalk is legible for users with vision impairment. And there was one infrastructure and engineering resolution from the January meeting on the Lowry Avenue Northeast reconstruction. The Pedestrian Advisory Committee requests that Hennepin County and Minneapolis fully research protected bike lanes or an off-street multi-use trail for the Lowry Avenue Northeast reconstruction from Johnson to Washington Streets to provide all ages connection between the community and the river.
Second.
Any discussions, I guess?
I think they captured the meeting. I think I would move that we adopt them in their entirety as a slate. And I guess it's already seconded, but yeah, no discussion. I'm ready to vote.
Okay, you guys are ready?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Aaron?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Adelaide?
Yep.
Barbara?
Yes.
Chris Hoffer?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Neil?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
Okay, well, we have 9 yeses for the whole slate of resolutions.
Doug.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron and Barb, for putting in all that work for so many resolutions and such. I mean, we've had some jam-packed INE meetings, so thanks again for running through all those. That's really helpful. It's nice that we have a team that stays on top of things. So, next up is, unless INE has anything else to add, next up is Programs and Policies Subcommittee Reports.
For which we have a resolution. And I'm trying to share my screen. Did Aaron have that? Is possible?
Would you like me to share my screen again, Peter?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will happily do that. Let's see if I can get the whole resolution on one screen. I cannot, but I will do my best here. Okay, back to that window.
Oh, there we go. Wow. Upper River.
Peter, is it legible for you?
It absolutely is. If you could scroll up, we have to. There's one short resolution above the Upper Harbor Terminal coordinated
that
plan.
That was the Lowry Avenue Northeast.
Oh, covered. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
So we had Upper Harbor Terminal project planners in December and January before the presenting the coordinated plan, and then a coordinated development plan, and then some infrastructure in January. And subsequent to those meetings and discussion, we developed the following motion for proposal. Excuse me, for for this project. So, and reads as follows: that the Minneapolis Pedestrian Advisory Committee largely supports the changes to the Upper Harbor Terminal Draft Coordinated Plan. In particular, we support the following strategies listed on page 31 of the plan and hope they will be reflected in the final plan as well as the signed community benefits agreement, Continue the following items. Continue to work with Metro Transit to expand new local limited stop and/or express service to the Upper Harbor site. Next, to build accessible pedestrian and bike connections between north side neighborhoods and the site. Next, upgrade bicycle lanes to off-street trails that are separated from sidewalks and pedestrian paths. Next, provide wide boulevards that offer separation from vehicle traffic and allow for healthy trees, landscaping, furnishings, public art, and pedestrian level street lighting. And last bullet, to design safe streets that prioritize and encourage safe travel behaviors. New paragraph, we offer conditional support for the following strategy, again on page 31, but urge all entities to commit to removing urban highways entirely as part of restorative justice and climate action, rather than continuing to invest money and effort into token measures to address both. That is, to continue to explore funding and partnership opportunities with Minnesota Department of Transportation to reconfigure the Dowling Avenue Bridge and construct a new non-motorized bridge across I-94. New paragraph, we are also excited about the planned multimodal hub that integrates biking and other sustainable modes on the site. We remind the city that true walkability requires the ubiquitous presence of seating benches that are not affiliated with transit stops, seating and benches, public restrooms, shelter, shade, water, and food sources. Additionally, the PAC is disappointed that the plan continues to incentivize driving by planning for and providing parking. We strongly oppose the 420 stall parking ramp on parcel 7A with 586 parking stalls identified in the plan. It continues to provide incredible incentives for driving to comply with its own complete streets policy, transportation action plan, climate action plan, and emergency. The city must remove the vast majority of the parking from the plan while retaining parking for people with disabilities. We support keeping any remaining parking near the edge of the site in order to reduce conflicts between people driving and people walking, using wheelchairs, or biking. It continues, reserving so much space for cars is especially egregious given that the parking ramp is not planned to be operational until at least 2025, when the city should be well into massive emissions reductions. Approving a parking structure of this nature would set the city back decades and would represent a massive failure to act on the policies that are the first steps necessary to slow climate change globally and create resiliency locally. Lastly, the PAC strongly urges this PAC strongly urges the city to ensure a small maximum block size in this rethinking of the urban grid. While we support high density, mixed-use development for the benefits to walkability, While we support high density, mixed-use development for the benefits to walkability, super blocks as seen in the stadia around the Twin Cities and in much of the North Loop discourage walkability. And I will happily reread that last sentence if it was not intelligent. So, all right. I'm gonna do that once for my once.
You don't have to reread it.
Okay.
Everybody else could see it, and I understood it. So.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. I wanted to go back to the that is the proposed resolution for the Upper Harbor Terminal project. I think we have an edit in the third to last paragraph.
I'll second it.
And so we have a second of them. The resolution.
What's the edit?
Discussion following edit. So it's in the end sentence starting to comply with its own complete streets policy.
Yeah, that's a typo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be comma climate emergency. And I think I got really happy with that when we were editing.
Millicent, can you make that edit even though it won't be showing up on the screen for us? Or how do we do that?
I can make it. Just tell me where it is again. Hold on one second.
Millicent, I've highlighted the word emergency there.
Yep.
Julia, is that to be replaced with climate emergency declaration, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was and climate emergency declaration.
The commas in place?
Yep, keep the comma in place
Okay.
and climate emergency declaration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sort of open for any other discussion or raised hands. This, I should note that this resolution is built upon the extensive work of the Bicycle Advisory Committee's own resolution.
I would like to add one item in the that we are also excited about the planned multimodal hub. I'd like to add electric wheelchair charging. And I apologize for doing this at the last minute.
Sorry, Aaron, I just threw it up there so we can all see. Where is that again, Julia?
It's after all the bullets.
It's the last paragraph on page 1.
Yep.
I think that's what we got.
Yeah, so the last line of that says shelter, shade, water, and food sources. And I'd like to add in maybe after, or at some point, charging for electric wheelchairs. Charging stations for electric wheelchairs. Thank you.
Looks good.
Yep. Looking for any other raised hands and seeing none, are we ready to vote?
Okay. Okay, Aaron?
Yes.
Abigail?
Yes.
Adelaide?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Chris Hoffer?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Neil?
Aye.
Paul?
Yes.
Peter?
Aye.
9 votes for yes.
Yay.
Does the PNP have any other things they'd like to bring up with their report?
Sure. A couple of things from January. December we covered welcoming new members, and we've covered that in this meeting pretty well. In January, we had a visit from a Mndot affiliated initiative to activate, which talks about activating spaces under freeways, freeway bridges, and we also we heard from CIP. I have some notes on the CIP real quick if we want to go through those. Julia, did you? I refer everybody else I refer everyone to the minutes for the details of the Under Bridges initiative. Subject to Julia, anything you want to add that weren't in the minutes, or anything you want to sum up for the Under Bridges activation?
I think it's covered in the minutes. I think it's a conversation that will keep happening, or we'll keep having. Yeah, thanks, Peter.
Okay. And again, I refer people to minutes on the CIP component, which is the capital improvement program, which is ongoing, like the NFL. It's in the headlines for us all year long. First thing Mike Samuelson did from the city is take us through the sequence of events that from developing and initiating these projects, getting budget requests made for them, presenting them, et cetera, and then all the way through the mayor's recommended budget, and then the city council finalization in the early fall. mainly, I would refer people to those to see the specific programs that are funded for this coming year, and to take the next couple of years too. What are assigned for filling sidewalk gaps and improving improving intersections and such. For safety, for our part, we'll be taking up a resolution for CIP's program initiatives and so forth in 2021. That's coming pretty soon. And we'll probably start having that discussion about a resolution towards the capital improvement programs for 2021 or 2022 and all in this coming PNP meeting at the last Monday, February. So that's the 22nd of February. I encourage everyone's participation about that. What we asked CIP is like, what can PAC do for you? And they were interested all year long in what we see with our eyes and what we hear with our ears and everything and every other sense when we're out of the city. They're particularly interested in improvements at intersections, and any insights that we can provide, they want to hear. And certainly we see CIP. Chris Kartheiser brings CIP and CIP affiliated people all year long to PNP. So we're able to engage with them off and on throughout the whole year. So that's another reason to be at PNP. And I think that's the long and the short of it. So again, read your minutes and our resolutions, and hope to see you on the 22nd, that Monday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Yes, and I think everyone in the pack should have gotten an email from me that just had, just to refresh memories, or if you're new, our resolution from last year's capital improvement projects, as well as, what we were successful at. And so then all that will be discussed at the PNP meeting in February, as Peter mentioned. So if you didn't get that email, just let me know. All of it is also available on the website that Matthew showed, where we have our the history of our resolutions and all that stuff. So that should be pretty easy to find otherwise. But it is fun. It is a fun discussion. It is one of the places where we feel we have a sort of direct impact in making changes where we otherwise wouldn't have any authority. So
I meant to add that January 29th, then your email inboxes is when Abigail sent that link out to the foundational, to the resolution. Real strong resolution from last year that covers recommendations and not for nothing what PAC's collected definition is of what makes a walkable street. So that is excellent reading. So January 29th inbox. Thanks, Abigail.
Yes, thanks.
What am I going to say? By the way, if you want to find out more about the CIP lists in general, I would go to the CLIC webpage. The Capital Long Range Improvement page has all the lists from way back, and it's interesting to see what we've contributed the last few years to give you some perspective on what kind of things we actually do propose. And some of these projects go back 5 years anyway, because the CLIC process is a 5-year, actually maybe 6 years now, but from beginning to end.
Yeah. So the Capital Long Range Improvements Committee, I believe, is how you'd find them on the Minneapolis web pages or websites.
Yeah. Right. Look at them that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good place. And yes, the CIP, what we got approved last year, I guess, is a program, so that does start occurring in 2021. But then certain projects, it's like that gets approved to then they figure out funding, and then 4 or 5 years later is when it actually gets constructed. And all that, I think, was also in the presentation at the PNP committee in January, so that should be in the minutes as well as attachments of any kind. So if you do have more questions on that, come to the February PNP meeting and you'll learn more.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going to open the floor. The last thing on the agenda is announcements. So this is just a general place for people to announce things that they know about happening, or things that people on the PAC might be interested in. and a place for our agency reps to share news of any kind. So that's really what announcements is. My only announcement is that subcommittee meetings will have that social 15, 20 minutes before every meeting. So please attend and be social. Julia? I saw 2 hands go up.
Somewhat relatedly, or PAC tangential, I'm going to be part of a Twitch video game stream looking at the urbanism of Tony Hawk's Minneapolis game on Friday. And that might be of interest to people. There will probably be comments on curb cuts. I haven't seen the game yet, so I don't know for sure. But I would invite you to join or let me know if you might be interested. It's via Streets I'm in. So it's should be on Twitter, definitely on that site, and I can share the info if anyone wants.
Want.
Chris?
Yeah, so I just wanted to give folks a heads up, and for those who were on early, I already mentioned this, but we are going to basically kind of resend everybody invitations to Microsoft Teams. So this will be coming. I'm going to send out a whole email with like everything you have to do all in one place. So don't feel like you have to remember anything right now. But and it shouldn't be like a big process. It's mostly on the back end. So don't roll your eyes, Abigail. We're putting in the work for you to make it better so that all this online stuff works out really well. But basically, you're going to have to accept an invitation. And so when you get something from Teams, like I'll also like in that email, I'll let you know when it goes out so you can like check spam if it goes there or something. But that'll make sure that like you have all the right functions and controls for Teams and stuff like that. So just a heads up, more information to come.
Anyone else? Julia Danzel.
Hey everybody, I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our youngest learners will be going back to school on Monday for the first time in nearly a year, which is just really exciting. And so I'll in celebration of this week, I'll just also mention that it would have been Winter Walk to School Day. Yes. Today would have been Wednesday, since I was on Wednesday. Today would have been Winter Walk to School Day, but with no school, we celebrated Winter Wellness Week anyway. And I'll just drop the link in the box. Each day there was different ways to kind of celebrate, and there was a walk and bike kind of component to it each day this week where we invited staff and students to participate. But it would have been Winter Walk to School Day if there would have been kids at school. But Monday, there will be some kids at school on Monday, and the forecast is cruel irony.
John.
20 below. We'll see. We shall see. So
get the door.
I'll just mention also really quickly, we have been distributing food boxes to the community, and those will continue to be available for any youth that are 18 and younger. That you do not have to be a Minneapolis Public School student. So we'll be starting, in-person school meals, but meal boxes will also continue. Different sites starting on Monday, but that is also a resource to the community.
Awesome.
I just chime up and say that those school meal boxes are incredible. And if you have somebody under 18 in your life and you haven't had one of the school meal boxes yet, you should.
I agree. I'm eating a few of them.
Good. Neil.
Me too, Neil.
They are good. There's fresh fruit in every single box.
Yeah. No, they're good food.
And is all that information just on the school's website where, like, any changes to that?
I'll drop the link, but Gail, because we're literally just kind of flipping the website today from mailbox to in-person, but yep, I'll drop the link.
Great, thanks.
That'll get you everything you need to know.
Cool. Any other announcements from anyone else? Lovely. Well, we are under time and I'm very proud of us, but I also feel like during those introductions, I really got to know everybody and everybody really got to use their 2 minutes to say hi. So I hope that that was a good introduction for new faces and a reintroduction for old faces that I miss a lot.
Agreed.
Yeah, so
Good to see you all.
yeah, it was good to see everybody. And with that, I guess I call the meeting closed. Adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.